What's going on, everybody? Here with Brady Peltzer at Exclusive Annuities. My name is William. Brady, how are you today?
Doing well, William. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. So today we're going to go through a little process with you, really explain how indexed annuities work. It's going to be more of a back and forth between me and Brady, and just general information, general details. We can always answer questions on the strategy session. So if you guys don't know how to book, all you do is go to exclusiveannuities.com. You can speak with myself or Brady. Just opt into a call with us. You can meet with both of us at the same time. And I promise you, we will put together the right design for you and find the highest contractual payouts on the market using our proprietary software inside of Exclusive Annuities that's designed to benefit you and find what makes the most sense for you and your family. So, Brady, today we'll go over the Indexed Annuities 101, really how these products work and how we place them with our clients.
Yeah, certainly. And to dive into it, ladies and gentlemen, index annuities, I always believe to be a steady pillar in a retirement plan, whether that be a vast majority of the asset base or a smaller portion of the overall portfolio. There is a place for index annuities. Which index annuity specifically is a lot of what we're going to dive into. William?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we do is we dive in, again, highest contractual guarantees on the market based on the products that we look at. We have so many different products and companies we can choose from, and every client that we really sit with, we go through that very thoroughly. If you can get both of us on a call, that's even better. So first and foremost, your principal's guaranteed, your interest credits are somewhat guaranteed based on certain mechanisms inside the contract that we can explain during the strategy session. Your money is going to grow tax deferred in these type of products. They're the perfect type of fit for people that are trying to mitigate risk during retirement, really stretch their money as long as they can. People's biggest concern in retirement is, will their money last as long as they do? And just for an example, I had someone the other day, she was making $300,000 a year, right? She was going into retirement the next year or two, and then, what's left is the Social Security and the pension. It equated to $3,000-4,000 a month in income. And I'm thinking, hey, that's a drastic lifestyle shift from income. So we put the assets on the table. We looked at what she had and came up in the beginning stages with a formula where she can take distributions from these annuities that we are looking at placing her with and really help fill that income gaps.
And that ultimately is the hottest button topic for most individuals. And what exactly do I do with my asset in the time of life to think distribution? We're all so accustomed to, from when we're born all the way through life, it's accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. How much can I grow this nest egg to? At some phase in life, we all hit it. It's more appropriate to start believing in preservation. That happens in the distribution model. The last thing you want in a distribution model, and again, we're talking in generalities here, but in a distribution model, we're taking withdrawals out, which in essence is lowering the asset base. But in a broader market account that's exposed to downside risk, last thing you want is the double whammy. Taking that distribution, also getting hit with a loss on the asset. You're taking it from both sides of the fence.
Correct. And some of these designs that I've personally seen you put together is really a phenomenal concept, because sometimes our clients don't even know that these type of strategies exist until they sit with us and meet with us and we put the numbers together and they're mind blown, especially that we're utilizing a type of vehicle that has absolutely no risk. So,
and a big component of that is the misconception of an annuity. When the annuity was initially designed, it was a defensive mechanism. We had fixed annuities that were paying fixed sums. If you still look up the definition of an annuity today, by definition, it's an asset that pays you a sum in income. That in all actuality is just one design of annuities. There's generally four primary benefits of owning an indexed annuity. And again, talking in generalities, but this is what we see on a day-by-day basis: accumulation, income, guaranteed income that is, long-term care, or what's happening after I pass, enhanced death benefit.
correct.
When we get to the income component, what you may see in annuities is the traditional design. You put your money in, essentially giving up the utility use control of the asset, has a rider on it, or some sort of guaranteed income design where the carrier is taking ownership, going to pay you a guaranteed sum of money for the rest of your life. You can take it on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, so on and so forth. A lot of the strategies that we dive into on a day-by-day basis akin to the individual that you referred to previously, income gap in retirement doesn't necessarily mean my income's going from here, my income's going from here. The income gap in retirement is all predicated on expenses. If the expenses can be paid for, why would we provide further guaranteed income on a monthly basis? Yeah, you're going to have more disposable income, but you're relinquishing the flexibility of the product or the asset in and of itself. So we like to go on a flexible, in most circumstances. Sometimes if you do have that gap, your guaranteed income on a monthly basis is lower than your expenses. That's oftentimes where that guaranteed income can be a very powerful insulation. However, if you have the asset base to back it, why would you give up the utility use control of the asset?
And that's one thing we're very big on here at Exclusive Annuities is utility use and control of your asset. An annuity is not you giving the money to the annuity carrier. You're not losing control of the asset unless it's placed incorrectly to a degree. And those are important topics that you just touched on. And that's why I think it's so valuable for whether it's a second opinion or an initial intake call. You know, they get a lot of value from meeting with us. You know, just making sure that these things are well understood on your end before you sign the dotted line and actually obligate yourself to these type of products. So,
because again, they are contractual agreements. You are binded to a contractual agreement, and by no means in having a discussion, a meeting, certainly want to make it clear there are no expectations, especially in an initial discussion. Absolutely no expectations. Hope there's no expectations on the other side of the fence as well. We're simply pillars to help individuals make educated, informed decisions for themselves pertaining to their retirement plan. On this side of the fence, no expectations. We don't expect an individual to be a client of ours as a byproduct of meeting with us. Sometimes a client, and I know we've bumped into this, sometimes a client isn't necessarily the best fit for ourselves as well, but there's no cost to a discussion. At the very least, we're going to go over pertinent information that you'll find valuable even if you don't work with us directly.
right. And as the wise saying goes, when value exceeds expectation, price becomes irrelevant at that point. So the way, and me and Brady, we do very good for ourselves here at Exclusive Annuities, but the reason being is because we're adding so much value in conceptually giving you the ideas that maybe nobody else really put on the table for you, have you really thinking about different ways to go about this. And that's really our ultimate goal, is to add so much value to your current situation that just by draw of that, you end up being a client of us. But like Brady said, there's really no obligation to meeting with us. Matter of fact, you can sit with us 4, 5, 6 times, not even purchase an annuity, but at least you're getting that valuable information through advisors that really know how to explain and educate you on different products on the market. So anything else you want to touch on there, Brady?
Just carrying on forward, that was one concept, the distribution model. It's best to compartmentalize when, we are in the position of looking at assets, realigning chess pieces, if you will, trying to solve a puzzle. Best to compartmentalize, and we can go on further about the process we go through with the client engagement process. However, in short, the emotional component of finance is something that we value to a great degree. Understanding that finance is not a direct science. There is an art to it. We are people. We have emotions. Our money, in essence, just buys freedom. What kind of vision do you have for yourself? Is it feasible based on what you've built? Combining the two components, the ethos with the mathematical, the numbers, very unique approach in identifying objective, feasibility. If the objective isn't feasible, find an alternative solution.
Right. And creating that solution around you is really what we're here to do. So aside from that, we do have the wealth management division for our clients as well that come in with a superior amount of assets. They might have other, objectives with the asset outside of the annuity. So, that's also a good opportunity for you guys to just speak with us. Great wealth management division through our wealth management branch. We're the safe money experts, so we will never show you anything that has market risk or exposure. again, utility use and control of the asset, and making sure we maximize those funds, and the money does contractually what exactly you need it to do. So I guess one of the biggest components of our process is people don't feel rushed. They really sit with us, they go through our process, and they say, these guys are good. And they also say, it's different from the experience they've been having with other firms or agents that
Right.
they've been meeting with. We bump into a lot of clients who just feel like the agent was rushing them. They weren't showing the right product. It looked good on paper. The illustration was phenomenal. Of course, it illustrated well.
What
And-
goes into the illustration is a good question to have. If you are having any annuity reviews, it's a great question to ask, is how exactly is this illustrated? Illustrated on historical data. Each carrier illustrates it on historical data. How exactly they assess that historical data may differ.
Right.
However, good question to ask. Big thing there, William, my big draw would be the benefit to the client. Ultimately, that is what we're after. Our aim is genuinely be a pillar in our communities and abroad for those looking to make a retirement decision. Ultimately, it is your decision, being the one that earned the money. You're going to make the decision you're going to make. All anyone can be for you is a pillar to help educate and make the most informed decision you're going to make.
And let me ask you this, Brady, just for our audience out there, what do you feel like the advantages are placing an indexed or annuity into your portfolio, aside from people going to the bank and getting a CD or placing their money directly in the market? Where would you say the annuity actually fits in and where it actually works in that scenario?
And in generality, William, that's a great question. Generally, a CD, rather than a CD, we oftentimes look at a MIGA, which would be a multi-year guarantee annuity, akin to a fixed annuity, which gives you a specified fixed rate for a specified duration of time, very similar to a CD at the bank. However, why it is oftentimes a more empowering alternative, again, the component of utility, use, and control. CDs at the bank, you have a specified term, no liquidity in the interim. Any withdrawal you take off of a CD
Cut back on interest
is going to have the charge,
Right.
withdrawal charge associated with it.
and not tax deferred.
Correct. That's the other component. The CD is not a tax-deferred vehicle. Taxes are due on an annual basis in the note. Other side of the fence, the multi-year guarantee annuity, there is liquidity in the interim. The contracts William and I like to look at, generally 10% of your assets value is available to you on an annual basis, offering you a line of withdrawal without penalty, that is.
Off the interest, so you don't have to touch your principal.
That's another great example. Presently, today's date, July 8th, there is a 7-year contract,
6.5%.
6.5%. It's a simple interest rate. And so, reading between the fine lines, that can sometimes be presented as a compounding rate. That is a simple interest rate, essentially meaning the yield to maturity is going to be lower than your annual specified rate. However, it's very empowering is the distribution model, as William alluded to. If we take interest, there is no difference between simple and compounding. Point A to point B is going to be the same. Then it becomes what's the best rate available. Being able to decipher the contracts, ensure that the eyes are not deceiving. So oftentimes the annuity landscape, much like any financial landscape, there's bells and whistles, there's hoopla, but there's also a difference between the bells and whistles and contractual guarantees, as we refer to them, contracts with bones.
Right. And this is the constant tug of war that, retirees, pre-retirees are trying to figure out when it comes to placing their funds, Or should I go the investment route, mutual funds, bonds, variable annuities, stocks? Should I just keep it in the savings account, money market, CDs? And these are all things that, we're very familiar with. We know the landscape of what's available. And, it's interesting because when you look at some of these annuity products, you'd see really key features like, we won't name companies, but for example, the plan we were looking at the other day with absolutely no surrender charges, which means you can exercise the benefits of the indexed annuity. Your money's technically not locked up to like people like to assume, in that regard. And the next year, if you want to do something else with your funds, you can pull 100% of your premium out and have no issue doing so with no charge. So just little things like that. People don't even know that they're available really until they meet with someone like us who can really say, hey, if this is a concern, utilizing this annuity over X amount of years, and we're maybe anticipating having the option to do something else with the asset after a certain amount of years, here's a solution for you where in the interim we can exercise this benefit. If we need to do something else with the asset, things change in a couple years, there's no surrender charges. So
great point to make there, William, is the maximum benefit, even in an annuity contract, could be the same exact product, the same exact vehicle. You add what's referred to as a rider on this one, as opposed to not adding the rider on the other one. This one very well may lead, what that rider provides very well may lead to a far more empowering benefit for you. So there are particular items to look at within an annuity contract, and it's not to say that annuities are a fit for everybody. That's why taking the holistic approach that we take in the planning process in conjunction with our partnership with the wealth management team, we're able to plan with all assets running in synchronicity. That's really what anybody is after, is A, an understanding of what they have, B, an understanding of what may be available for them out there, and C, what they do have at the end of the day, flowing efficiently, flowing in synchronicity.
With full control of their asset. So index annuities basically are going to give you the potential to exceed your traditional fixed interest rates, without exposing your principal or past gains to the market. We talk about the point-to-point crediting systems, right now available through certain annuity products. When the year is up, so the way an index annuity works on a point-to-point basis is your account principal checks in today, right? And 1 year from today, whatever the index is performed at, is what you're going to get a credit on year after year in the annuity itself. And that's when you would want us to shop the highest contractual guaranteed participation rates, caps, and all of those things on the product lineup and put multiple designs in front of you. Again, if you are in the space where you're looking to purchase an annuity and you don't know where to go, or you just are not ready yet, you need more consultations, make sure that you go on exclusiveannuities.com, right on our website, speak to a advisor. You can book with me or Brady, or you can book with both of us, and we'll gladly sit with you as long as it takes, as short as it takes, to really find those highest contractual guarantees for you. And, these point-to-point methods are sometimes, able to help you get more than what you would have gotten in a CD or some sort of fixed vehicle like a money market, right? So,
I'm having a little laugh to myself because we recently ran into a scenario, how exactly the money grows in an index annuity. And again, a strategy review session, we can dive into far further detail, but the skinny on such, the index that those funds are allocated into are going to be credited a number of ways. The traditional way, the tried and true way, as William and I refer to it as, is indeed the point-to-point crediting. That's what most individuals are accustomed to. That's saying that July 8th, contract goes to issue, it's in place, its effective date, July 8th. The earnings from July 8th to July 7th of next year is what's pertinent to that specific contract. That would be the point to point. Point A, first day of the year. B, close of the 365th day of the year, 366th on a leap year. Other crediting methods, such as annual sum, are crediting in intervals, generally on a monthly basis. However, over the test of time, and again in a strategy review session, we can show you some of the analyses we've run to cross-reference which crediting strategy is best. And again, that's talking in generalities. We also have to take a look at what's referred to participation rate. How much are you participating in the index? It's a percentage. If it's capped, if it's uncapped. Strategy review session, go over these finer details. Even if you're not so interested in an annuity, want to know more about annuities, always fun to have a conversation.
Always fun to have a conversation, and we're here to serve you to the highest level that we possibly can. And again, just build value around your current portfolio and implementing those proper strategies in retirement for you. So just to wrap up here, the way these index participation rates work, when the market goes up, your money goes up. There's no fees associated with the products, most of them that we'll show you. Like I said on my last video, if there's a product that has a fee and we like it, does something contractual for us, we'll consider it. But other than that, you're not participating in any loss. You're participating in any period with a gain, no loss, and all your gains are locked in each period.
And what that is referring to there on the visual is indexed accounting in a nutshell.
Right.
So point A, you're a participant in the earnings. The dotted line there would be the broader market. Based on the slope there, let's say that it's a 70% participation rate. So if the index itself does 10%, you're a 70% participant, you garner 7%. That is what would be credited at that juncture, that very first point. That would constitute a step up in basis. That's saying that that second contract year, if it were a negative year for the index, it would not
Go below.
go below that new basis.
Mm.
Then, at the start of the contract, that first green line, you credit $5,000 in earnings. You now have $105,000 the start of the second contract year. If that is a negative year, the second year for you, you would be credited 0% earnings, no losses. You would still have $105,000 after that second negative year. You would not go backward as a result of the step up in basis.
Right. So the compound long-term effect of that is really just streamlining your growth over time instead of, having those assets, volatility directly correlated with your account. So here's another example. If Brady, you want to just touch on this for a quick minute.
Yep, absolutely. So annual cap on the S&P 500 is 7%. Generally, William and myself, we like to stay away from cap rates. We like uncapped, participation-based strategies. If we think about it, the principal protection is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a line in the sand. We cannot go backward. A cap rate then puts a ceiling on how much that account can earn. So 7%, if the S&P does 7% on the dot, client gets 7%. Mm-hmm. If the S&P does 10%, client gets 7%. The S&P does 20%, client gets 7%. There's a cap on earnings. However, with this demonstrated model, you can see how it is always a gradual climb up as opposed to that significant decline. That's the thing with those significant declines.
Right.
They do happen, not very often. However, they do happen. If you lose 50% of your asset, you would then have to make 100% back to be back whole. Think about percent of your nest egg. Life looks and feels a whole lot different. Now, same thing. Start at the top. Think of your asset base. If you doubled it, odds are life may feel a little different, might have a little bit more security, but it's probably not looking too much different.
For sure.
That's the concept of indexed accounting. Participating in the earnings, avoiding the knee cut out loss.
Right. Yeah, so that's a lot for you guys. If you made it all the way through the video, thank you very much for watching. Maybe you've already met with us once. Maybe you're considering meeting with us. Again, exclusiveinnuities.com. My name is William. This is Brady. And we'd be more than happy to serve you. Make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, like our Facebook page, call us anytime, opt in for a strategy session. We'd be more than glad to help you. Brady, appreciate your time today, partner.
Likewise, my friend.
And we'll see you soon.
See
Happy
you soon.
retirement.